don't run away from your fear, just attack it, and then it becomes quite less powerful, and then you own it. So be the boss of your fear. That's the message of my video, I guess. Hello everyone, welcome to another adventure with me. This time I'm going to possibly the most exotic and beautiful place in the UK, Cornwall. Join me for a ride on the Night Riviera sleeper train, beautiful hikes, beaches, and lots of good vibes in general. When booking a cabin on the sleeper train, you get access to the first-class lounge and lots of complimentary stuff, including unlimited water, hot drinks, biscuits, crisps. And you can show exactly where Queen Elizabeth II used to wait for her train to depart from London Paddington to Windsor. I have boarded the train around an hour earlier than departure time, and I'm excitedly making my way to my cabin. For whatever reason, I was given a double cabin, even though I booked a single one. Each cabin or berth comes with a comfy looking bed, a kind of a table and sink hybrid, a tiny wardrobe, lots of controllable lights, including a reading light and air conditioning, both hot and cold. I felt like a child in a toy store as I explored around. You know what? I'm quite impressed by this. I mean, it's not as small as I was expecting based on reviews. The bed seems quite comfortable, the stuff are nice, there's breakfast included, you have access to first class lounge, so I think this gets a big thumbs up from me. The train also has a lounge bar offering a mix of complimentary and paid drinks and snacks. Of course I brought my new favourite book with me, as there is nothing better than reading while laying down on the train. I think now it's the time to say, please don't be fooled, I could actually not sleep well at all. The bed was comfy, don't get me wrong, but I'm a very light sleeper and I woke up to every bit of noise and movement. Plus the fire exit light was really bothering me the whole night. I officially awoke at around 6 AM and decided to just enjoy the beautiful early morning views outside my window. The closer we got to Cornwall, the more beautiful the scenery became. At 7 AM, I was served breakfast consisting of a bacon roll and coffee. It was not that great, but the view made it taste better. And then, at around 7:30 AM, it was time to leave this train and get on the local one from St Earth to St Ives. The view was insane at this point and I forgot about any feeling of sleepiness at all. The whole overnight journey took around 7 hours and 30 minutes in total, and I would recommend it.
It's definitely an experience for the curious and adventurous souls out there. With the soundtrack of the ocean and the cackles of seagulls, St Ives is like a dazzling jewel in Cornwall's crown. Historically, it's always been a picturesque fishing harbour and seaside town. St Ives is mostly famous for its incredible surf beaches and its art scenes. But I also loved exploring all of the independent shops and the delicious scent of baked goodies coming from the numerous bakeries down the high street. I dropped my luggage at the Airbnb and left off to explore. Of course, I ended up in a nearby beach, Porthmeor Beach. It is one of the only 8 beaches in Cornwall that hold the prestigious Blue Flag Award 2022, given in recognition of water quality, safety, facilities, environmental management and education, so it can be quite popular for surfers and families alike. Already feeling recharged by the salt air and the cooling waves, I decided to go on my first hike up to St Nicholas Chapel, on top of the hill of an area called the Island. This isn't really an island at all, but a small grassy peninsula which used to be surrounded by a protective fort once. It is considered one of the best seabird watching sites in Europe. And personally, it gifted me with amazing views across St Ives Bay to the lighthouse. After my hike, I stopped to recharge over some mussels and creamy wine sauce and rosemary chips at Porthmeor Beach Services, which honestly became my local favourite restaurant. There was a very special visitor who approved of my choice, a Frenchie in a dog stroller. As if a little rain cloud was chasing me, the weather changed rapidly the second I left the restaurant. So I decided to hide in the Tate Museum while my host cleaned my room and got it ready for me. I was rather unpleasantly surprised by the fact that Tate St Ives is not free to enter like it is in London, but still enjoyed the colourful room with weird, toy-like statues. The child in me was immensely happy as I got to draw. And then I watched something I could not quite frankly understand before heading off to the cafe on the top floor. Purely for this view. next day I woke up with a clear mission to get to Carbis Bay, a beautiful seaside resort and village within 1 mile southeast of St Ives. The main reason I wanted to go was the beach. Yes, you guessed it right. Deciding to be most adventurous, I ended up going down one of the steepest of paths just to get to the beach. Though, looking back at it now, it was actually a shortcut which saved me more time to enjoy by golden sands and blue waters. I came all the way from up there above. The second I stepped on this beach, it felt like I had reached heaven. The weather was so lovely, and so was my mood. So I only found the rather cold water refreshing. By complete accident, I discovered something amazing. Rocks fully covered in clams. In fact, during the low tide, I found something like a clam cave. Though I did not dare to completely go inside. The entire beach was surrounded by these mighty cliffs covered in thick bushes and with many cave-like openings hiding throughout. There was also water coming down the cliffs in mini waterfalls. I found it all both kind of scary but also fascinating. So I decided to enjoy the cruffin I got from St Ives Bakery earlier, and let me tell you, it was so good. It was smooth and buttery, crispy and flaky, with a generous filling of custard and jam. In that moment I thought, happiness costs exactly £5. £3 for the cruffin and £2 for the train ticket to this beach. It's the little things that count. It started drizzling once I returned to St Ives, so I spontaneously hid in a gallery cafe. West Coast Studios was possibly my best finding in St Ives. It is a gallery full of incredible art from various artists, with super friendly staff, a cute dog that demands belly rubs, delicious coffee, cool music, and overall good vibes. Do check it out if you ever find yourself in St Ives. I'll link everything in the description box below. As the drizzle grew into rain, I decided to have lunch before returning to my Airbnb. I ordered some fish chowder and these amazing garlic clams in another random find, By the Sea seafood restaurant. Again, I would recommend this. Well fed and with a happy heart, I took a shower and went straight to bed for a little power nap once I arrived back in my room. I woke up refreshed and with a desire to chase the sunset that evening. Walking through Porthmeor beach, I made my way to Man's Head, a rocky outcrop which was a good sunset spot. Here I discovered the Southwest Path, which allows excellent and easy access on foot to various points of interest. I wish I'd discovered it earlier. I've almost reached Man's Head, and you know, I must say all of the paths are quite like cleared out, as in there's a road, you don't have to like fear climbing all the rocks. And look at this view. Isn't it gorgeous? It's beautiful out here, but I'm gonna film again once I make it to the top. Once again, I was mesmerized by the views. There was something rather majestic in the way these rocks stood tall on the edge of the cliffs. It was interesting to observe how much the Man's Head literally reminded of a man's head. This spot also offered me with magnificent views of St Ives Bay, as well as St Nicholas Chapel and the island in the far distance. Once I discovered this was marked as an area of outstanding beauty, I knew I would be doing more than just sitting still and watching the sunset. And so, I was on my way up the hill with no knowledge of expectation of where this path led. I made it up so high that it's actually kind of scary at this point. I mean, I have no equipment with me or anything, but look at that. So there's definitely like a higher point, I think somewhere up like there, but just because it's almost time for the sunset, and this was the main reason why I came here. This was not like a planned hike. I'm gonna stop here for a little bit and then go back and watch the sunset by Man's Head, because I think it's not wise for me to just continue walking around in my flip-flops without much preparation or knowledge of where I'm going. And you can see, so I started like all the way there, and I went there on my first day, which was like a minor hike compared to this. But yeah, it's awesome.
12 seconds later.
So you know how I was saying I'm not gonna do the whole path? Well, curiosity got the best of me. Boy, I'm out of breath because I've been doing this twice now. Should not have gone back. I will update you in a bit once I get there. In case you think this is easy for me, it's not, because I'm actually kind of like afraid of heights.
Nice.
So walking down a narrow path with nothing but like cliffs and water around me is scary in itself, but I promised myself I'm gonna do stuff that kind of pushes me out of my comfort zone. The views are gonna be all worth it.
75 years later.
I made it even further away, and I'm getting down to what seems to be like rocks.
2,000 years.
The situation is as follows. There are bushes everywhere, a lot of mud. Can't see... Oh wait, I think I've made it to the end. The most difficult roads often lead to the most beautiful destinations. Alright, that is it. Okay, this is actually gorgeous. I am glad that I didn't go back I've said this for the 100th time now, which kind of teaches you a lesson, doesn't it? When you're scared and you do something, it brings a lot more joy than when you just do stuff that you're used to, which goes back to my point about saying how I want to push myself to go out my comfort zone. Having said that, you know, be careful what you do. I mean, if this was more rocky than it is, I wouldn't have done anything, just because I know myself, and it's one thing to push yourself, but it's another to be unprepared and everything. So watch out where you're going, guys, and always kind of think reasonably and don't just do it for the hype, basically.
Okay.
After this successful and very spontaneous hike, it was time for me to find a good spot to watch the sunset. Now please sit back and enjoy the next time-lapse scenes. I ended up walking 20k, so I finished my day with a well-deserved pint of local pale ale and crispy fish with pineapple and Asian-inspired salad. At this point, I had zero care in whether or not it would rain. I started my final day with coffee from Yallah, which was some of the best coffee I've had in a while, so do check it out. Then I went to explore the east side of the harbour. The Cornish flag, the flag of St Piran, white cross on a black background, represents white tin flowing from the black rock, or good overcoming evil. I also enjoyed some views of St Ives Parish Church. By the way, isn't it amazing how the low tide leaves the boats in dry sand before water swooshes them back in with the high tide? I also stopped to admire St Ives Lighthouse and enjoyed some more gorgeous views of the harbour. As it got progressively sunnier, I stopped by to enjoy a quick sunbath by the harbour's sand beach. The temptation to go in for a dip was immense, but my sand-filled trainers changed my mind. No trip to Cornwall is complete without having a traditional Cornish pasty. The one I got was filled with meat and your typical roast vegetables. I had to carefully guard my treat though from the seagulls, ever so dangerously hovering around me. And before I knew it, it was time to catch the train back to London Paddington. My journey on the way back was quicker, though it was not in a cabin anymore. The train was comfy and spacious, and I had some coffee in a bag, a slight improvement from the coffee on the sleeper train.